All right, I would like to call this meeting to order and welcome everyone to the City of Bremerton Parks and Recreation Commission. It's our regular monthly meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 22nd. Thank you everyone for being here. First up, we have approval of minutes from our last meeting, which was March 25th. Hope all the commissioners had a chance to review those. Director sent those to us via email, and I will make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, got a motion to approve in a second. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Waterman, could you hear that?
Yes, I wasn't sure if I could approve. I wasn't in the last meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said that, Commissioner. I'm sorry. So thank you for refraining from voting on that. Thank you. So that will pass unanimously with the folks that were here. Are we good on that? Yes. Okay. Perfect. All right. Next up is approval of tonight's agenda. Anyone have any, commissioners have any questions or comments? Pretty.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
All right, I would like to second Commissioner Johnson's approval. All in favor of approving tonight's agenda, please say aye.
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 All right, and anyone opposed, say nay, and that's gonna pass unanimously. Thank you. All right, next up, we have public comment. And we got anybody in virtual world? No?
It says no.
All right. Well, easy peasy, moving right along then. Let's get into staff reports and updates. Colette, would you like to start us, or director?
Yeah, so let's see, did we hire thank you, commissioners that were together. 25 volunteers. Parks crew will be finishing up the playground next week, and we're confirming the rest of our expenses to see if we can afford to have the engineered wood fiber, which is the playground surfacing, blown in, which is more expensive versus dumped, and then we have to haul it. So we're waiting to get that, make that determination until we get everything else completed. The contractor is just completing some small items now that the restroom is in. They've poured the concrete apron around the building and some paving finishings. We're also working with a irrigation contractor to do the coverage test and get that going so that we can plant some trees. So shade trees are being selected now and they'll be planted next month. We also are working with PSC to complete their work for electrical drop down service. And then the final touches are the site furniture, picnic shelter or picnic tables, and signage. We'll have a new park sign there at the corner, and we're working on an interpretive sign which will illustrate the history of the site. And so yeah, we're expecting the park to be open this summer, I'd say by the end of June, and then a ribbon cutting ceremony will also be scheduled.
Sure.
Did we want to show the video of the restroom? Okay.
Oh, it's specifically the restroom. It's in the recap if we want to just do that one.
Oh, just do the
Yeah.
the monthly recap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different things that happened in our parks and rec department this month, and maybe this will become like a monthly thing, and so it has some of the.
So. And I paused the wrong thing. Let's see, how do I? Oh, my screen sharing's paused. Resume. Okay. Let me just get the volume. Can you see the video, Amy?
I don't see a video. I see it looks like your file folder.
Okay. Oh, it says my screen sharing is paused. Let me just get out of this and then I'll restart it.
Sure.
Yeah, there we go. That's bizarre.
You can't see the word.
The whole process was about 3.5 hours.
But that took.
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes, yeah.
You're serious.
I think I just saw you pocket those two.
Alright, I like that a lot.
Yeah, so that's just kind of to build on, oh, there we see you now.
Hey, Amy.
Great. Hi.
So that's just again, something, Cole, that's just kind of, we're building off of some of the videos and other things we started to do and thought, we shared it this afternoon with the Parks Investment Finance and Parking Committee, the P5 group, which has 3 council members on it. And so it's kind of nice for them to see that. But yeah, just another great way. And really a lot of these videos are going to lead us into social media presence. We're going to be starting the first Instagram page for the city. Will be for our department. And so a lot of Instagram is short reels and videos. So looking forward to doing that and telling our story.
When do you think that'll be up?
Oh, it'd be great if in this next month we get that put together and get moving forward.
Any commissioners have any questions on Haddon Park? We had a good time on Saturday. Yeah, it was fun. All right, how about Kitsap Lake? Okay.
Playground selection will occur later this year. You mentioned that one unit. Looks like we are gonna get approval on that. $311,000. So we're expecting to receive that. And the contractor did replace the sub did replace the grading. I think we mentioned at the last meeting that was all wrong in their direction.
Yes.
That's done now.
Thank you for updating us on that. Good. Any commissioners have any questions? Comments on Kitsap Lake, moving right along? Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to feature
Yeah.
that more in the reel for next month.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure.
That is for you guys.
Great. All right, and then the last thing I see for reports and updates was recognition of Remington Parks Foundation for donations.
Yeah,
Richard?
I just wanted, thank you. I just wanted to let the commission know that for both of our current projects, both Haddon Park and for Kitsap Lake, the commission or the foundation devoted funds towards both those projects. And so we completed those invoices and received that funding. So a total of was it about 16,000? 16.5? Yeah. Yeah, so 10,000 for one and then 6,500 for the other project, but just wanted to make sure that we entered that into our minutes and recognize the group and their involvement in that project.
We thank them for that.
Yep.
Yeah, amazing. Very nice of them.
Yes.
Great donation, foundation. Awesome. All right. Well, let's move into new business. Let's get into that pros plan.
Moving right along.
Yeah.
So just a brief update on the survey. I am doing some manual entries of some hard copies that we received, just finished the ones so far that we've received from the senior center. We'll be entering in the ones from Mountain View Middle School. So it'll be kind of fun soon to see what they came up with. Great. And then we are on the 22nd, 8 days from now, the survey closes. We are, once I enter the remaining ones I have right now, the hard copies, we should be close to almost 800 responses, which is really good for a survey that's over 25 questions and about 15 minutes to take the survey. And then what I'll do prior to our next meeting is start to tabulate and look at ways that we can utilize that information to help us figure out what some of the community priorities are for the different sections within the pros plan. So start to break that out. I kind of envision next month that we will continue to do what we're going to be doing next and working on going through each of our individual facilities and areas that we maintain within the community. And then I don't plan to spend probably more than 20-30 minutes next month on the survey, but more provide the results to you so then we can kind of utilize that and analyze that for this summer. But I'll give you some kind of initial thoughts as well at the next meeting on that. So
I'm sorry, did you say how many people have taken it so far?
we'll be once I enter in the rest of these, we'll be close to almost 800. Yep. Which blew away my original 500, and then I went to 1,000, and now I feel like I need to come up with a couple hundred more somewhere. But we're doing well, and we're getting a lot of response. What's that? I know, still got 8 days. There's
For you down at Ferry.
plenty of time. Yeah, I'll be at the Rainiers game on Thursday. If you're there, I might have you fill out the survey. Exactly. Yeah. Be riding the ferries, handing out surveys. Okay, yeah, so let's we can move forward and get in. We have 10, 11 facilities, sites that we're going to talk about tonight. Yeah, we definitely have plenty. So the agenda's there, and then it's just the working document that we have for this month. So the top section is what was in the previous plan, and the bottom section, after staff have gone out to these 11 sites, it incorporates some of our recommendations. Okay, so Haddon.
This footage is so old.
I know, this is not what Haddon looks like now. There's a playground, there's a restroom.
Roller slide.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, all those pipes that I see along those edges, like those ones coming out like diagonal, what am I looking at there?
Manufacturers.
Okay,
Made out.
okay. So will a finished product, will they be like kind of ground level or will they kind of be under where you gotta dig to them? Like, what does that look like?
They should be just right at surface.
Okay. So where if you needed to access some, you're gonna be able to get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
plan.
Yeah, right.
Our natural fencing there.
Yeah, right.
has to show the irrigation is not done yet.
All right. Yes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Historic.
Historic fence.
It's probably protected. Yes.
Probably.
It's probably protected.
There you go.
Okay, Amy, can you see the PDF document?
I can see, yes, I've got it. Mhm.
It may not be super visible, but. Okay,
Looks good.
so, okay, perfect. So for, let me get my notes. For that. So obviously for Haddon Park, we were going to see quite a bit of transformation between 2020 and now,
Mhm.
as we've been anticipating getting work done at the site. So one thing that we are updating is the description. As noted in previous updates, we are adding in quantities of things, so and dates. So for example, playground 2025. So we want to make sure we remember in 10 years how long that's been there. The number of parking spaces, picnic tables, so all that's been added. Changing information, so was noted as a basketball court before. We refer to it as a sport court because there's a number of different activities that can be taken there. We removed some items like natural area.
Mhm.
It's kind of, you're in a park, we kind of feel like it's an assumption that it is a natural area. Added shelter to it.
Are those shelters for rent or is that just always open?
It will be reservable. Yeah, and this is the same shelter that is at Kitsap Lake Park as well. So it's kind of a newer, and is it similar to the one
Same as-
at Warren? Okay,
Yeah,
I couldn't
so-
remember if Warren had. Yep.
You post sign on those shelters that they can rent.
We did put the evergreen, I don't know that we have.
Like-
signs out all of it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because almost all of them are reservable. There's one I was talking to Corinne about that we are gonna remove because it's the one at Matan. Yeah, we were talking about removing the one at Matan because that kind of almost more functions as a neighborhood use as opposed to a reservable, just because the park's so small. Yeah, and it would just be on a first come, first serve.
How many picnic tables are going underneath the shelter at Haddon? 3. Okay. Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah, and then we'll have 2 picnic tables that will be
At large.
yeah, that'll be on the outside of the restroom.
Okay.
Yep. Not the restroom, the playground. So there were 2 areas that were concrete this weekend. One was where we had kind of did our staging area with the pop-up,
Okay.
and the other one is just adjacent to that. So just for example, some of the things we removed from management issues, aging playground,
Mhm.
probably made sense.
Yeah.
Substandard restroom facility, we're removing. And then the trees, it noted dangerous trees on the south border.
That's
yeah.
the-
Mhm.
But not the, in order to remove the trees, we need to remove the fence.
Right.
So it's a bigger project.
Yep. And there has been some interest, as this is potentially being a secondary community garden space. And so we wanted to note that there in case that is something that, there gains interest in. I think the biggest thing is finding a group like the Master Gardeners
Mhm.
it would be important to help manage something like that. It's not something we could internally manage ourselves, but if there was a user group that would be created, I think that would help push and encourage that to happen.
Yeah, I think the group was called Streets of Grace. Are they still around? Okay. I remember that Albert Porter there. Sorry, Commissioner, did you have something?
No, that's okay. I was just wondering, would the group just contact you that?
If there is interest, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking about People's Exchange down on Callow, because they do some, a
Mhm,
lot of gardening activities, stuff they might.
mhm. Okay, good.
Commissioners, have any questions? Any
Yeah.
other questions or comments on Ed? Commissioner Waterman, sound good?
No, it sounds good. Thank you.
Right on. Yeah, thank you.
I did have a question about the tree removal, poplar trees. What was that, what was going on there?
Those are the trees that are along 15th Street, and some of them are in the right of way. So, can partner with Public Works to remove those ones. We would like to replant that area.
Is something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's part of where the fence runs along.
right, and the new
that area.
sidewalk.
Yeah.
Is the fence protecting any kind of blow hazards or anything like that? Where somebody could fall in the dark off of it?
Yeah, it is pretty steep, and I think it's nice to have a border, especially since there's a road right there that you can't see, so. But, we were thinking, could we just remove those, so much is that what you're thinking, would not replace it, but I think we do. Replace it. But then,
Okay.
sometimes when you go to a park like that side, and that it's enclosed, that your kids can run in there.
I think that-
Absolutely run into the road.
I think that's why they were originally put on.
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite a slope, yeah.
Quite a slope, and for ball control in the past, the park has been used, for. Soccer clinic for small kids, so that's helpful too.
I'm sorry, I had a quick question. What signage did we end up going with for Haddon?
Our
For the park
standard
signage?
Okay, our
Yeah.
standard park sign, not like what we got at like Warren, which is a little different.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
but standard with
To the standard, yeah,
Thank you.
where it's the name of the park, a line, address, line, contact, I think, or something, yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yes, that was a discussion to figure out
Yeah.
which format we wanted to move forward with.
I remember Warren, we talked about it here, we wanted something a little different, maybe catch people's eye. It's such a
Mhm,
heavily used intersection there.
it is. Okay. Let's see. This is that shelter we were talking about moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that mystery board, we've asked staff and have no idea why that was boarded
Huh.
and couldn't tell if there was ever a structure that came off of it.
Huh.
They could have, yeah, about kids falling through or. So that's it.
Yeah, little park.
Yes.
I like your idea that you discussed. With the block. Right away.
Look at a potential pathway. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we did. Yeah. Yeah, and something throughout too, a lot of our survey quotes are 2013, so we'll be updating all of those. Because people may wonder if we have quotes from 12 years ago. Why is that? Okay. So with this park, it's currently listed under the neighborhood parks, and we discussed moving it to the pocket park category, just because it falls within the size of our pocket parks as opposed to a neighborhood park. So that's one discussion that we had. Obviously, number of picnic tables, benches. Let's see.
What's the ramifications of relabeling it like that?
I don't think, I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't think there's a negative side of it. It's just more putting it in a proper classification.
And my question is that before Helen's renovation, Mountain was the best park in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So to not have a neighborhood park, if Mountain wasn't a neighborhood park, it'd be nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
And Mountain doesn't have a restroom, so it's not really,
yeah.
the kids call it backyard park actually, because they don't have big yards, if they, that's,
Oh, yeah,
you know.
yeah.
For them, you know, they live nearby, and, but now that Haddon is online with a new playground, you know, and it's in the same neighborhood. I think, yeah, I've given the reasons that you mentioned, it fits the category better.
Other things we've done to change, and I can't remember if we talked about this in the previous months, but previously it noted as management issues, we call them concerns now, as opposed to an issue, because they're not necessarily, it just gives a negative connotation, and at times it's not
Sure.
to alert or state that there's a major issue with something, but it's something that is of concern, which could be a little more broad than something that rates as an issue at that point. So previously, park vandalism security was the only thing that was in there, so we've added a couple items there. That the adjustable basketball hoop does not really adjust. It's kind of stuck at the stage that it's at. So should we be looking at replacing those hoops? And then we're starting to get some issues with tree roots heaving the pathway along the exterior of the park.
I noticed you took out, in the 2020 pros, we had to consider purchase of adjacent property, and that's not in the draft update.
Yeah, and Colette, you can probably speak to that a little bit more, but the property was available at that time. Yeah,
But it's not now.
it's not now. But we just kind of talked in general too, that as a standard, if something did come available, whether it was this park or another park, it's something that we should look at considering to expand.
Any dedicated funding for that, or is that something we just have to go ask the council for refunds or something like that?
Yeah, at this point, we don't have dedicated funding. It would be great to be able to create something like that. I would love to have that too for grant writing, where we have matching funds available
Yeah.
for whatever it is that we were looking towards.
2026 budget.
There you go. Yeah, I'm sure the funds are there somewhere.
I looked at our, the end of 2024, and we ended up with $2 million more in cash than what we.
Than what was anticipated.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like, just sweep that to parks.
There you go. Yeah. For the park?
I see,
Oh.
It's in the paper.
Yeah.
You just played that well.
Yeah.
You don't remember?
So moving forward, like with the next update, we're gonna call it a pocket park.
Yeah.
I think, any commissioners have any other questions or concerns with that? I think that's pretty sounds pretty good, yeah.
The other thing, probably because of amenities that might have gone. The other thing I wanted to note too, it does have a drinking fountain. It's concrete. It'll probably need to be replaced at some point, and so just updating to our new standard. And then we don't really have an accessible play feature there, but there is a space that we could put one, and so just wanting to not forget that we should be considering that in the future.
So the boards that we saw on the playground, is that something that staff is gonna look maybe into of removing and there was a play feature, we thought maybe a play feature was gone or something.
Oh, where the board is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Supposed to be, it looks like it's supposed to be phase.
Mhm.
Okay. okay,
So I don't know if there was something happened, that.
okay. So
It
nothing
looks
really,
like. something that our-
Okay. okay.
Yeah. But I didn't even think about the option of a neighborhood parent might have put a board up if something had happened and we just never knew about it. Yeah,
But I mean, it's secured enough. Did we look at it and make sure? I mean,
it's on there
Yeah,
good.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, it's how we
Hmm.
would block something
Okay,
if there was a feature
Perfect.
removed and we didn't want
Perfect.
anybody
perfect.
sneaking through
Sounds
there.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you say something like that. It was blocked per standard. Per park standards, yes.
Still waiting to.
Yeah. Okay,
Season.
so moving on to Arvon. This was a fun one. And the gate at the bottom is locked. Typically, so it is, yeah, yeah.
A mom's garden.
It's like single lot.
It is, yeah, it's not very deep. You can see the back line there, but yeah, it's about the sizes of a property of a lot.
Similar to the town.
Yeah. Really like a gift or something.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I think it talks about that here, like a church, the church donated it to us. Yeah,
Says donated.
Yeah.
And Colette, can you speak to communication that you know of that's happened at a point related to the future use of this site?
Down this National Spiritualist Association of Churches and got their approval that we could sell it.
Oh.
But I don't know where that written approval is. So I have to dig that up.
Yes.
somewhere.
The circumstance, donation stuff, everything contact.
Yeah, yeah.
That's great.
So as same as 2020, considering the long-term viability and recreation benefit of the mini park, I think that's still, we felt that that's something that still needed to be there. We added an adequate, I don't think these really changed, just because nothing's really happened since 2020. It did note then to consider surplusing for development of affordable housing. And then that's about all. Let's see.
We,
Remove unsafe playground. Yeah, so looking through it, even though it's locked, we know people can get through fencing or over fencing, but we felt that it was in the best interest of the site for our staff, maybe even next winter during some downtime to remove the playground. That's currently there because it's definitely not usable anymore. And it's more of a safety hazard than anything.
Yeah, two of the neighbors.
Yeah, I know the city council is very concerned about this park
Mm-hmm.
and are looking for some conclusion as to shutting it down or something. So they've
Yeah, I
mentioned it
believe,
to me a
yeah, I
couple of
think they would
times.
like to see a recommendation from it for sure.
You know, I would support a motion to dispose of it, but I don't support the idea that the money goes outside the parks.
Amen. Wouldn't it be nice if it went to the parks budget rather than
Yeah.
general fund?
I mean, I think I think it would, if we plan on doing that, I think we should have a motion that we could bring to the council. They need a unanimous vote to sell park property.
Mhm.
But I think if we had dissent here, I don't think they would get. And I would not support a motion that says we're moving the money outside the park property.
I think that that would honor the spirit of the gift also, since they
Mhm.
clearly intended it to be for a park.
Yeah.
Property, the next best thing would be to benefit parks.
Well, even as you speak for purchasing a park property, that it goes to whether it's a park capital fund or
Yeah, just the parks.
something, and we can wordsmith that too to make sure it stays in the right.
Totally
Yeah.
agree, it's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, we've been scratching for money our whole time and it's like,
Yeah, I think the gift.
so I would like that language changed, if we could change that in our draft pros plan. Of where the surplus goes to.
So adding it
So
to
instead of
this
consider
recommendation,
surplusing for future park needs
okay,
that's what I would support. I would vote against a motion that took the money outside the park system.
it's big, yeah.
Yes, yes, and it's definitely a need, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
we've been scratching for funds for
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, they can, whoever buys it can use it for whatever they want.
Yeah,
It probably would be affordable.
yeah, they could develop an affordable housing,
Yeah,
but
yeah. We probably aren't gonna put a covenant that it has to be that, but it's
No.
never seemed to work that way.
yeah.
Okay,
But before, like, we just thinking, before this commission, like, even takes a motion to move forward with, like, even trying to sell this property, we need to make sure that we can even do so.
Sure. Yes, yeah, that's
Cause
where,
cause we're, I mean,
we need to get that in.
Yeah.
Mhm.
this park's been on my radar for years and it's.
And I guess if it's not our property, we just give it back, you know? If it's really not legally ours,
Sure.
yeah,
we don't have title.
that would,
Mhm.
Just
that'll
say-
eliminate the liability.
Yeah, just pull out of our equipment and
That Arbonne Street that it's on is like, I know, it's a two-way street, which blows my mind. It is so narrow. It's hard.
it's
it-
very narrow.
It's hard to get in and out of that.
mhm.
it's called traffic calming.
Yeah, it's a one-way alley. All right, good. No, that's a great conversation. Okay. Anything else? Ready to move forward
Yeah, I'm ready to move.
in more ways than one? And we take pictures of everything, even
Yeah.
shopping carts. Sometimes I watch this video in the afternoon, just bop my head. Yeah.
That's really pretty. I'm glad you got pretty.
I guess I go by this thing. 7 by 8 all the time.
Yeah, it's a great little site, and yeah, just noting on the standards, this is the standard sign. So that's
There we go.
very similar to what we'll have.
Yep.
And the one at Haddon's gonna be one-sided. The one at Kitsap Lake, those are the two new park developments, that'll be a double-sided.
Okay.
Friend that lives in that White House there. He mentions what an improvement is. It's
Oh, yeah.
probably-
So just briefly on this, I've had a
Yeah.
couple people reach out to me about what can we do to soften this? And Colette remembers that the biggest issue was the stairs basically went into the extent of what we could improve with the high water line.
And they're just gonna continue.
Yeah, and so we talked about signage at the top, something to provide warning.
Careful, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what we can
Watch your
even do
step.
to reduce some of the rock here, but that was a concern.
You even asked what the plans to deal with the people that suck.
I have not heard of that in a long time.
Yeah, I just was, I hate to say, I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah,
Where's that, Commissioner Dawson? I'm sorry, what are you?
Right next to this place, there's a brownfield that's chain linked around, that's heavily contaminated.
Oh, okay,
And it's all, it was.
bit on
the
this side,
EPA
on the
list.
other side
Oh,
of this
yeah.
building. Yeah.
okay.
And it would, and, you know, eventually, when they clean it out and cap it and stuff, it would, be available for a park expansion, because normally that's what you do with contaminated areas,
Mhm.
make them into parks.
Right. Yeah. You put topsoil and throw the ball out. Yeah.
But I'm just curious. That for the future, they can wait
Yeah.
on the road. That's
Yeah.
been their fault.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wasn't familiar with that. Thank you.
Let's see. Okay. Try to move Amy around here so we can see. Okay, so yeah, this was a 2011 improvement. Um, just a singular picnic table there. We didn't have a whole lot of, did we really have much management concerns?
Just the drop at the stairs.
Yeah.
And in here.
Yep.
What the rules about using the amphitheater for music and things like that?
Is that through Public Works?
No, so I was wondering if it's signed.
I don't know if it's under ours. That's something we probably need to play. I would love to see small concerts there. It would be kind of fun.
Like acoustic.
I
Yeah,
think it'd have to be acoustic. I feel like there's not power there.
yeah. So this site is one that is, we listed as one of our parks, but it is maintained through a contract through Public Works. So it isn't a park that we maintain with our staff.
You know, something that has a little bluegrass group
Sure,
that lives up.
be
the
kind of
street above
fun.
it.
Yeah.
They were asking me and I said, I don't know. Who you talk to?
Don't you normally just try it and see what happens?
Do it and ask forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody else was, I didn't see a reservation sign. Yeah. It's kind of like a shelter. Yeah.
I was on the council when this. One of the coolest things I felt did be able to take a public works project and turn it into a park in an area that is so well, it's so underserved.
Yeah.
It was really cool. No,
It
clever.
opened up the news.
Oh, yeah, and have access and have access to the waters.
Yeah.
To me, it's such an important thing for kids to be able to turn over rocks, and look at sea life stuff.
Yep.
It's so beautiful and the times, and it's great that they were able to pull that off as times where money was tight. when you
No,
were on
it was tight, you know, that, but
That was great.
yeah, that was a cool, really cool project. I felt really good about that one. Good.
All right, any other comments about Billy and James Walker Park?
Other than again, connected to that one. Make a bike path or a multimodal path going up together.
What would be involved in that?
I think that you'd have to try to buy some right of way, maybe, either going along, the roads are pretty narrow, so I don't
Oh.
have, you can use them for parking, so I don't know. That you could really use one of the roads,
Okay.
if you could go up between the houses with something that and pay somebody enough money to do that, there's a lot of them are rentals.
Okay. Yeah. That'd be cool.
It would be,
Yeah.
it would be, I mean, just, if there's ever a sale on places,
Yeah.
keeping that in mind.
Okay, so moving on to Madrona.
We're looking at Austin site.
It's that former parking lot area that was seeded last fall.
It's a lot nicer.
Awesome.
All right. Okay, so on Madrona Trails, there are some things that we were happy to remove under management issues. One of those was debris from use as a smoking area from the hospital.
Mhm.
So that obviously is no longer, there we go. No longer a concern of that spot.
Mhm.
We removed trails narrow with low use just because we have such a great group preservation group that's
Yeah.
there that's working on rerouting, like Paulette said, and managing those trails. So we didn't feel like that was a big concern anymore. And then obviously the parking lot is no longer used by hospital workers, so we removed that from the management concerns list. We did keep on a number of those other things. You know, we do come across, and again, it's great having that kind of watchdog group there because they'll let us know if there's encampments going on. We've had unfortunately some issues, and I think we've talked about them with down trees being cut for firewood or sold. And so we're working on trying to get a better grasp on that. Yeah, as far as recommendations go, one of the improvements in 2020 was to increase maintenance presence and widen trails, which I think has been a successful with the partners that we have developed there.
Mhm.
And then expanding the trails and connections to new residential development, I think that's been accomplished. And obviously the work that they've done in rerouting and better identifying trail systems there. Looking at master planning the former parking lot area to determine what the best use of that area is. So that's the area that was seeded this
Yeah.
fall, or hydro seeded this fall. It's not irrigated. And it's an area that could be an open play spot. It was something that was looked at as a potential for a dog park. So that could be something there. Part of the preservation group's interest too is, you know, do we look at reforesting that area? So enlarging the forest area. But we also at the same time kind of want to watch and see what happens with the development of the former hospital to see if there's a different need for that site moving forward. So in the meantime, our recommendation is just kind of, I'd look at potential options and just kind of wait and see. I think we'll have some movement on the hospital site pretty soon to know what other kind of need and what type of activity might be occurring at that site. So yeah.
I'm wondering, that area that you said has been reseeded, was it gravel before or was it pavement?
It was pavement.
It was
So
asphalt,
they
yeah.
removed it and then
Mhm.
Yeah.
so that's kind of looking for.
Yeah. It's a great example. of how you can remove asphalt. Yeah. Oh, it looks much better. It's a very wet area. I've noticed that for sure.
Mm.
This spring, there's a lot of water that collects there.
The grant agency that gave us that property for recreational use, and so we've been out of compliance this whole time. Having parking there. So as part of the demolition permit, they were required to remove that section.
Okay.
Is that part of the management concern implemented by Jason? That what part of that collection? Thanks.
Probably, yeah, that's one of them.
I think that and those that their properties back up, whether their fence lines would be maintained or if they would accidentally enlarge, another 10, 15 feet.
Who's monitored? I mean, have they been anybody that's on park property, have they been notified, or is there a system to notify?
Not that I'm aware of, as far as residential development.
Yeah. As much as an issue because strip, and
Mhm.
the forest that's abutting the development is actually.
It's
under
partly part of the
LGA.
HOA. Yeah.
So that- so
Mhm.
conservancy. So I
Mhm.
don't think-
All right. Any other comments on Madrona?
Come a long way. Pretty good. It's nice,
Yeah.
yeah, trail system's great up there.
Josh updated.
Awesome. Perfect. You got a good group up there, considering you talked about there.
Yep.
It's squared away up there.
No, it's a great example of a community group partnering to manage a site.
Agreed.
All right. So on to NAD Marine Park. Full of all sorts of surprises.
Yeah.
Sailboat, it's been there forever. Sure, we probably call that that. Have any of you ever hiked back through there?
It's been a long time, but yeah.
Okay. A bomb shelter. It is, yeah. It's quite large in there. Yeah. Yeah. It's that you have to get back far into it to even find
Come up, that.
along
That gate, yeah, we saw a cyclist there.
how much waterfront's along our property. I
We
can't
saw a
remember.
cyclist there using that.
Yes,
We've got that note. It's large.
Yeah.
It's really, well, that whole hillside's massive.
Cause it goes into like Jackson.
Yeah.
16.
1,600 feet. Yeah, waterfront. Yeah, it's big. Yeah.
Safe.
Are we still opening that yellow gate and letting cars park down there?
I think
Or is it?
The
it's
gate's
closed?
always
Or-
closed, so they
okay.
park at the end where the
Got it.
gate's at.
Yeah, that road comes to that, you
Mhm.
come to the park.
So Tim, I'd like to talk about this one a little
Okay,
when there's
great.
a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
go
is the
ahead.
park closest. Yeah. Okay. Hi. And I apologize. Colette is breaking up a little. So Colette, if you respond, I might not be able to hear you. I don't know if it's your laptop in the way or what, but this is the park that's closest to the part of Bremerton that I live in. And it's not the one I frequent the most, but it is heavily used by the neighbors around me. And there have been a slew of management concerns over the last year to 2 years. And it may be a little different than some of the other parks. It's pretty secluded. There is increased transient activity. I think it's a little different. What it appears is happening is a number of people who are what they call live on boards or living on boats will anchor there and then use that park as their area for disposing their garbage in a really small can, and it spills over. And now that we've got that blocked off so you can't park there, it's not quite as bad, but there is still some regular interaction going on with people who are living aboard boats and using that park, not in the most ideal situation. And as you saw, there is a sunken sailboat there. And I did, we take turns because we all live on the water over there dealing with derelict boats. And I handled it one year in the other, in the other bay. And there's another neighbor who's really taken the lead on this one. And I think he's been working on it for probably about 9 months and getting a lot of, oh, you need to talk with the Coast Guard because it's under their jurisdiction, or, oh, no, it's a county issue. You know, it's a Washington DNR issue. And the latest as of this week is it's 100% a city of Bremerton issue. And he's just throwing up his hands going, I cannot get anybody to respond to me. But he said, hey, Amy, do you think the park would be interested in? It's not necessarily the responsibility of the park to deal with this sunken sailboat, but to help us move forward and get some sort of response after 9 months of trying to figure out who could possibly help here and take action on this. What's sad about it is that that sailboat was not completely sunk when we started, and now has completely submerged, and all you can see at this point is the mast. Tim, I've encouraged my neighbor to come and reach out to the parks director directly just to share what's been happening. I have also encouraged him to talk with our city council rep, and he's starting to do that. But that is a regular issue with this park. It's not the last boat we've dealt with. It's just the latest boat. And so that is one of the issues with this park. I also understand, I just found out today that another one of our neighbors has been talking with Parks and Rec about creating some sort of park steward group for this particular park, and that would be great. She didn't have much to share with it other than she wants to call it NAD is Rad, and it'll be an initiative to really
Call it whatever she wants.
improve the park condition, so I just said we're all in. The neighbors are happy to join up. So I know she started that conversation with you. So there may be some neighborhood support moving forward for this park. But it's very secluded and just seems to have a lot of issues for that reason. I'll stop there.
It does. No, thank you, Amy, for your comments. So we'll also kind of walk through. We didn't have a whole lot of changes besides this just hasn't received a lot of attention. So a lot of the information is consistent from 2020. We did add, as far as a management concern, lack of parking. Since that gate has stayed closed, there's not a whole lot of space on the exterior of the gate. Do we look at moving the gate in a little bit? And part of the issue is that I don't think the roadway is wide enough for us to be able to provide even parallel parking on the inside to try to give a little more space. So looking at how can we identify that, encourage, something we've been talking about quite a bit is, especially in these forested areas, is how do we activate them where we're getting more people utilizing them and maybe deterring the negative activity from happening. But with that, in 2020, we did note an improvement recommendation would be to consider a restroom. We removed that for now. We don't feel that that's probably a great spot because it's very hidden at this point to be able to put a restroom facility in there unless we have other activity that's occurring. Another note, you did see Carlos walk into a large enclosed bunker. We have made attempts previously to weld that door shut and the weld's been broke and they've gotten into it. So we're looking at once things warm up and dry out to create a pathway in and then to bring in essentially like a Jersey barrier or something to be able to block that door because it is heavily used, that space, and a lot of homeless activity up there has been occurring. So we want to deter that from happening. Yeah, anything else that you guys had to add there?
Dumping, on the site.
Mhm.
Actually, when we were there, the garbage can was overflowing.
Mhm.
and, you know, it could have been the situation that you were talking about. People dumping.
Right.
So we should.
Okay.
And
Amy,
I think developing a partnership to assist with what we've been talking about.
Mhm.
Should that.
Amy, I sent you an email. I don't know if you received it yet. But that's who I've utilized in the past for derelict vessels.
Okay. Thank you.
And your comment is the first, at least I've heard, that it's a city issue.
That was today. I think he just got that or this week. So, yeah, no, it's gone. He's
News
going
to
in
us.
circles. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
the state DNR does have a derelict vessel removal program. It's
They
just
do.
not funded
They
well.
It
That's what I
isn't,
just
and
Oh.
they have a 12-page document I just looked at earlier today, and it might be on that list of 12 pages. It looks like it possibly could be there based on description, but I'm not sure. So, but it's when they'll get to it. I'm not sure. I guess they're the U.S. Coast Guard representative that my neighbor spoke with said there may also be an issue with unexploded ordnance in that bay. And it could be two issues there. The sailboat could be a danger for that reason, or even removing that large of a sunken vessel could be an issue in that bay. So, so that was a new piece of information he also got this week. So very complicated. Not growing up in Washington, this derelict vessel thing has been quite an education for me.
Lots of water here.
Yes.
Well, if it hits a piece of unexploded ordnance, our problem will be solved.
Well, yes. The wildlife wouldn't be too happy though.
No.
Okay, ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good.
First Street Plaza is our next stop. And don't blink because this one does not take very long. And there it is. It is. And honestly, as someone that's only been here 6 months, when I first walked through there, I assumed it was an extension of the businesses
Yeah,
and not city property when I first looked at it.
sure.
And really until we were walking down in that area, realized it's ours. To maintain. So, let's see. But yeah, it kind of completes that whole area down there as well with the other improvements we have.
Mhm.
Okay, so First Street Plaza is 0.06 acres. We did add that there's 3 tables and chairs that are there.
Updated the businesses that it's adjacent to.
Yes. Let's see, this is the updated one. Okay. Let's see. Management concerns, just maintaining that area and litter getting built up, and keeping things clean with all the activity that happens there. One of the recommendations that kind of comes to my point of I thought the neighboring businesses owned it. I mean, I don't know if there would be interest, but if we were to approach at least the 2 adjacent businesses to see if there would be interest, it would put that property back on the tax roll and then put the responsibility of the maintenance into the business owner's hands. But if we're maintaining it, they may not have interest in that either. So I just wanted to note that as a potential recommendation, especially for an extremely small site like that.
Could they lease it out for an outdoor cafe?
Like a third party, separate from, it could be. We do have standards within our park system for food trucks or vendors. And so a vendor could potentially utilize that. Yeah, for sure. That's a great idea. Yep. Yep.
There's a lot of talk with, people in the downtown area that want to have more street dining, things like that, and.
Yep.
Here's something like.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Brian, I don't know if you can answer this. Is there a way to cut off the downstream fountains from this top piece and just have the top fountain thing going that's shown in
I
this?
like the sails at the bottom.
We're in the different,
We're
we're Memorial.
we're on First Street Plaza.
Oh, I'm in the wrong spot?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
I think you're at page,
Where did I go?
we're right there.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's just, okay, now I understand the
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
aspect of it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's across the street from the other pieces.
Yep.
My reflection is that this was built at the same time as Memorial Plaza, the street.
Mhm.
It was kind of to encourage economic development, encourage businesses to come in, well, now they're there, so.
There was a bunch of property trading to be able to get the bank restaurant going on. And I think there was 3 things that got traded at a time, and what we got out of it was this pocket park.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Plaza.
what's that?
It's a
Plaza.
The plaza, yeah, the plaza, thank you.
Different classification.
Yeah.
Any other comments on First Street?
I like the idea of using it as a meeting spot.
Mhm.
I'd go. Nice sunny evening.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Even if you rotated something through once a month
Yeah.
or so. But that's a great idea. Okay, well, we'll move on to Harborside Fountain. And again, these were taken before we had water activity going, and now they're all up and running. Not all of them, not every.
This one.
This one is, yeah. Some of these videos are kind of like sad because Brian and I are like by ourselves. It's like nobody wants to come play with us.
You got this lady behind us, going, run along.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Walk. Get out there and walk for me. That's what we hear most of the time, yeah. Okay, for Harborside Fountain, I was actually kind of amazed. I mean, it's a very long space. There's 16 picnic tables there in that whole area. So there's a lot, and they're heavy, but you can tell that they've been moved off and on. I didn't have a whole lot of notes on mine, Colette, that we made a lot of changes to this one. One thing we did note under the improvement recommendations, let's see if it's there. There is some settling along for the bricks along the shoreline, and I think a lot of that could be just because of that's where all the water collects. So we're gonna have to address that at some point. Otherwise, we, still have some issues with our fountains, and they're not getting any younger. And the amount of work that we're potentially going to need to put into those to bring those back up and improve.
They're very pretty.
They are, yeah.
And they're really cool with the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, one thing that was noted as an improvement recommendation 6 years ago was to program the site for community events, and we kind of feel like that's been once Sunny's events kind of came in that is getting utilized for those. So we did remove that as a recommendation, that we do think there are events that are down there and using that space.
Or someone had mentioned that they could have just to see it. That would be a good time now, but it's busy. Shut down. It'd be kind of fun to poke around and see what it's like if we could.
I'd like to see how the systems work. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yep.
That's what you wrote.
Yeah.
It was really fun to see them.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, even seeing them run. I mean, when we were out there, they weren't running, and then Colette went out and reshot some video, and then I got to see I've never seen the fountains work. I got here in mid-October, so I had no idea what they did. So it was cool, because I've seen pictures, but those don't move. But yeah, I think it would be great to be able to get out there, and that's something I've enjoyed doing in the past too, is with commissions I've worked with, doing a, almost like an end of summer kind of tour of some of the projects and things that we've done, and you get out and check things out. And that was kind of a little bit of the thought behind us going through the pros process and showing videos, so then we can see visibly, because we can't get out to all of them all the time, and neither can we can't expect you to be out there either. So it's a great way to see everything. Any other comments on Harborside? Okay. So we'll move on to the boardwalk.
I remember when we parks used to put Christmas lights down there. I thought that was cool, but I know it's a big cost thing to go maintain. Some, yeah, they had some animated ones, and yeah, that was always fun. Yeah,
With the Christmas lights and the.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, so on to the board. More two guys talking about themselves.
Like every video.
That's what a boat looks like, is what Brian's talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why she can't hear you.
So these shots are on top of the restroom.
Bernard.
Yeah. It kind of looked like a drone for a second. It's kind of cool. Okay, so the boardwalk, obviously a very popular spot. Especially you can tell from the picture that's used here. I'm sure everybody's been to an event there at one point or another.
It's probably what the pitch in that those people have it wrong.
We've talked.
And
We've
then
talked,
park surveillance, you know?
Yes. Yeah. In my previous city, I was able to purchase one because I also oversaw facilities. And it was great because we could fly the drone to look at whether our drainage systems were working on top of the building or what kind of issues were up there. And weren't having to have staff climb up and down, but it also doubled great for events, taking shots and projects as well. So I think a drone would be great. We can buy that with a park sale.
All right.
Buy a few of them, probably. Okay, so as far as the boardwalk's concerned, let's see, I'm kind of looking at, we didn't take an inventory of benches, tables. There's just a lot that's going on there. This is an area that we will be providing some further updates to because going to be working with Public Works on some improvements. This is going to be sort of our festival area next summer for the FIFA fan zone. And so there will be some improvements that we'll be proposing in the 2026 budget for some funding or grant funds to be able to make some improvements down there. And some of them are just general, like visible improvements, new paint, freshen things up. But then there's also some other ideas that we're looking at as far as electrical and some other resources that could be brought to the site. So we haven't had those meetings yet, but we'll make an update to this as far as potential recommendations when we come across some of that. Anything that you had on this one, Colette?
I got a question. The business that's currently down there, I mean, they've come, and it's been years, but somehow, is that not part of the inventory of this park? The board?
The shack?
Yes.
It's yeah, it's they lease from the fort.
Okay.
So their outdoor seating area is city property.
Okay, maybe.
But
that's
the
what I'm
building's
thinking.
part of the
They had to
port.
Come to this commission,
Yep.
we had to approve that for them. to-
Yeah, so I think when I talked to
Okay.
her last month, she made it sound like she had put in a request at one point to expand for the outdoor seating, and that's maybe where that conversation
Okay,
came
I think
from.
they
That's-
wanted to move back a little bit around the,
Mm-hmm.
towards the ferry.
more than what they have currently.
Yep.
They were looking for expansion. Okay, that's
Thought they
ringing
did
a
that.
bell.
I thought they did that.
They have,
Yeah,
yeah.
Maybe that's what it was then.
yeah.
I feel like we tried.
So, there's a couple things. I go down here a lot, especially during all the festivals.
Mhm.
Nice walk. We have the worst stage in the county. And it's labor intensive because it's portable. So you gotta
Mhm.
put it up, you gotta take it down, you gotta store it. So I think one of the things we ought to do is get a permanent stage down here. It'd be one of the goals on our pros plan. The other thing I noticed, and the one thing about the stage, I've been down there and the drummer had to stop because he had a heat stroke. There wasn't enough cover for him. And the sun it was the first, band at 11 o'clock. And, a bunch of old guys playing, so you have to forgive them. But, the sun was beating on them because there's not enough cover for those stages, for those people that. And the other thing that's really lacking there is shade. And if you go down there during a festival, Tim, so Tim, we're not used to sun here. You are.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll have one covered table that'll be packed. And you'll see like along the stairs where there's a little bit of shade, people.
Tucked in there.
Yeah, so I was thinking, we could do those sailcloths over some of that
shade
stairway. That
sails,
wouldn't
yeah.
be hugely expensive.
And just seasonal because,
Take them down.
And that's typically what those shade cells are, is you.
I think it would be such a huge improvement to be able to get out of the sun down there would be amazing. Like I said, and it's like when sun comes out, it's 75 degrees. We're going for shade, you know? We're not used to that. And if, when you're around for some of these festivals, go down there and look, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The shade is taken, you know, every spot. And I think some of those shade cloths over that great stairway would be so cool, and have just a permanent stage that could and I think you could do more events then. Same thing, lease it out when it's not these festival things, but I think that would be huge improvements for this area.
Who owns the stage currently?
We do.
Yeah, it's
This-
ours, and I think it's in the basement
Now
here.
it's put up now.
Oh,
the
is it
frame
up? They
is.
put it up, okay.
The frame is up.
Yeah. Right, next Friday is their first event down there.
But why
I
do we
realized
make
that was part of responsibility setting that up. So like
Mhm.
Blackberry Festival, that's us. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
I
gotta
don't
take it
think-
down
I
in the
did-
winter.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, it stays up all season, I think.
Yeah,
It
but
does.
we
Yep.
take it down again.
Right, yep.
And store it.
And store it.
all
Mhm.
And I'm going, you know, there's cost to doing that versus,
Building something permanent like you're talking about.
yeah, I mean, go to Port Orchard, they've got a really nice waterfront stage. Go to Paulsville, they got a really nice waterfront stage, and go
Mhm.
to Bremerton, it's like, it's a stage.
That's a great thought.
Yeah, I, those would be two big things to add to this
I love
proposal.
that.
It's good.
Some of you folks remember, I don't know if you ever come across your LinkedIn, but there was talks years and years and years ago of expanding this boardwalk all the way to Evergreen.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
For all the-
How cool would that?
So I've heard that through the comprehensive plan meetings that I've attended. And there's a waterway protection group
Yeah.
that halted that.
Got shut down.
Yeah, yeah.
But just the renderings that I just remember when it first.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Looks-
it would've-
look
it
cool.
would've looked so
Yeah,
neat.
look
That
really
is
cool.
Sure.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, there's the boardwalk that went through Gorge to come in along Charles.
All roads lead to Bremerton.
There's a really cool boardwalk in Bellingham that there was something like this, but there was problems. This one was funded by the sewer system.
Yeah.
Instead of doing the pumps, they were gonna
Sure.
run the sewer line
Oh,
off the
underneath.
beach.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
a big part of it. But
Okay.
then the other thing was access to those private properties. Once you built this thing,
Mhm.
you know, you couldn't get to them, so.
They commissioned the designers from that are part of Disneyland and stuff. Remember that?
Oh,
To do a revitalization of the downtown area.
remember that.
And spend money. I'd love to see that study. It's on somebody's shelf. But it was, that part of the plan was to canopy, close. the
That's
streets,
right, that's
Close the street to traffic and canopy.
Yeah.
The streets.
Mhm.
Works for Disney. Yeah, well, that's what they were talking about, making it look like Disneyland.
Other issues that I know of down on that boardwalk are already addressed in here, namely the restroom.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I have a meeting next week with Public Works and then with a few other people to look at some of that 2026 stuff. But yeah, I think definitely before we finalize this plan, we'll kind of know, and it'd be nice to include some of those comments and plans in there, so we can get some things accomplished down there. For
Which,
sure.
are they talking like a portable screen coming down there for like view? Is it gonna be like a viewing thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be, and we haven't really worked all the
Yeah.
details out
Yeah.
because what was initially thought isn't really what's necessarily there, and it's gonna be more of creating a fan atmosphere for locals to
Yeah.
be able to be excited about and be involved in the FIFA World Cup.
So is
but-
the city like are we talking like directly to FIFA over this?
No, so this is a
Okay.
third party
Okay.
group that's managing these 7 or 9 sites in the state of Washington. So it's an independent group
Okay.
that's managing this.
That
And
FIFA probably has a contract with or
Mhm.
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Okay. That's weird.
Yeah,
FIFA's good.
yeah. Yeah, and so it's basically activating, it's getting your local population excited about FIFA, and not all of the host locations are doing this either. So an independent nonprofit group in Seattle has kind of taken the charge and is leading the statewide effort. But yeah, the concept is yeah, maybe we bring in an LED screen. We are essentially required to host, and not to get too far into the weeds, but host a fan experience or something every day that Seattle hosts a game. So there's 6 games that'll be there. And so there's 6 days that we would be that we would have some sort of activity happening in Bremerton. But it doesn't limit us to doing something every day for 43 straight days. I mean, how much fun would that be?
Okay,
But yeah. So more to come.
thank you.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel bad for him. The mayor keeps referring to a playbook that is very confidential.
Okay,
He's finally seen a copy of it, but he can't really talk about it.
cause I got a feeling they're gonna call it like a FIFA fan zone.
So it won't be called
They're
FIFA.
not-
FIFA's
okay.
name won't be tied
Okay.
to it. Yep. Yeah, but you'll see like a World Cup 26 or a WC 26, I think is what's in the logo.
All right.
So there was a water break or something, failure down there this last year. On that boardwalk. Do you guys, I know the port was working on, I think it was going to their marina, but I know they tore up a lot of the concrete right where the biggest planter kind of in front of the grand stairway. You guys know, I mean, you didn't have to do anything with that, did you?
Kind of.
I know that they're.
Yeah.
Okay, so they didn't bring it, it didn't come on to us. I know they had to tear a bunch of it up though. Yeah,
That big planter in front of the business you're talking.
yeah, that was torn up right in front of that for quite a while, yeah.
Sure was.
Okay.
I haven't heard of it.
We'll
Anything
fix it
else?
for 'em.
Yeah, anything else on the boardwalk?
And by the stairs and underneath, is that theirs and not the city who has to maintain and take care of? So if you're coming down from the ferry and you go down and there's, it's kind of shaded, there's some parking for employees, but there's a restroom right down in that area.
Yeah, that's ours. Yeah, ours is the one that's out. Yeah. Where the beer garden.
Yeah.
It's tied to the beer
There is,
garden. Yeah.
Right.
Be nice to put shade sails on top of that.
There you go. There you go.
Okay. So moving on to Memorial Plaza. And speaking of water, I actually forgot to let you know I brought waters if anybody wants water. Ben was the first one here, so I grabbed one for him, but there's no preferential treatment. It's right there. It probably is by now. It was cold.
It's pretty cool.
Should be all right.
Thank you.
And this fountain is still not turned on, is that correct?
Yes.
Or-
This was the one I was thinking, this is where the,
Okay, awesome, yeah.
where the Walmart was, I
Woolworth.
mean, Woolworths, I mean, I had that confused with that first one.
Let's get
Yeah.
the water.
Yeah, yeah.
We classified
Yeah.
it as different. And
Yeah, so this one will hopefully be on this week, and then next week, the hope is the convention center, the conference center ones will be on.
Now, Memorial is the one, we don't want people in these fountains up there. Is that accurate?
Correct.
The ones down below, we're good to go.
There's signs that say do not play in
Yeah.
the fountain, yeah.
I don't know if any of them were really meant for,
No, we don't.
they were more to be interactive. Especially in 2000, early 2000s,
The
yeah.
filtration system on the ones.
Yeah.
We have to keep it to a certain.
Yeah.
level for the-
Yes,
It was originally not designed for a
No.
splash.
no,
Right.
not at all.
Most fountains
Yeah.
weren't, but they were open.
Mm.
Yes. Okay, memorial. Oops.
Before my time.
Okay, so not a whole lot, obviously not a big space. Some recommendations, let's see, update fountain. System. Again, this is another area that we have lights, but they haven't been updated, and so most of them aren't functioning. Carlos was the one I think that brought up the pavers, wasn't he? There's an area where I think water just kind of naturally collects that we are going to potentially look at adding some pavers in instead of having the turf be wet in that space.
Yes.
But otherwise, I don't have a whole lot of comments that I wrote down on this one.
So this is the one I was
Yep.
wondering if you could shorten the fountain path to just the area that you see at the top.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be possible where all the pumps and stuff are, but this park becomes uninhabitable in the summer because the stream is a seagull magnet, and we don't do anything to there's probably things you could do to keep the seagulls off, but we don't, and so it just becomes full of seagulls and seagull excrement. And so people don't use it really, which is too bad, but it just becomes so filthy. You don't even want to walk there. So I don't know if we can shorten the fountain, or otherwise we just have to do some deterrent, like, wires that they can't sit there and drink, or
So are you talking about like maybe just having one fountain?
Yeah, just the one you
You're
see
talking
right
about that
there.
middle section.
And stop
eliminating
the
middle
river
section,
flow.
yeah.
And none down below.
None down below. Because the river piece is really, they're using that as their water source. And I'm sure we can do something else to stop that, but you'll see as you go through the summer, it's like, it's nice now because the water's off.
Yeah.
But it gets really almost unusable because it's just it gets so filthy. And I mean, I don't think it's the Parks Department's problem, other than if we can design something to improve it. Because you'd have to be down there every day spraying it, and you don't want to do that,
Right.
Yeah, but it's a big negative, I think, not a big positive.
So is the full supply to the water features below from up here? Okay. That'd be kind of interesting.
Anyhow, that's crazy idea, but I just,
Yeah.
I never thought of that, though,
Yeah.
but they have, that's their fresh water supply.
yeah, they're all over that park.
Any other comments on Memorial Plaza? Okay. We
And
are
if you go down there in the
getting
summer,
close.
wear a hat.
good to know. White hat?
No.
The neighbors.
Okay. So my math correct, Colette, that Whitney Dumpstead is our last one?
He says with so much enthusiasm.
Just want to keep going. It's not a.
Yes.
For sure, right there.
They have.
You guys just waiting for the drug deal.
Hanging out, every damn- Definitely.
Looking for eggs.
Looking for change in the water.
Okay. Ugh. Tell we don't have fun doing any of these.
Mhm.
To admit, I don't know who Whitey Domstead was.
He was a former mayor. Before he went to charge.
Okay, so very, very small. Not a whole lot of comments. We don't at this point have any improvement recommendations for that site. I did add into the inventory that there's a Whitey Domstad Memorial.
Drinking fountain was added. It has a dog.
Oh yeah,
Dog
drinking fountain was
fountain,
added.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when we talk in terms of adding new fountains, that's really kind of what we're looking at is the dog. That feature and accessible. And I don't even, do we have very many bottle filling fountains in our system? It's just tough because that 3-in-1, it's like $8,000 for those. I mean, they're not cheap. So that's why we don't see them very much. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the dog bowl ones are fun because you can usually press on a button and it fills it up a little bit. But it doesn't leave a whole lot of standing water in there. But yeah, so 2 tables, 3 benches. Gets used for the Minette concert series.
Another good view.
The hillside is,
Yeah.
I know it's hard to mow, but it works for the concerts.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slope is nice. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, great views. So Amy, anything you have?
No, I love this little park. I've been to many of those concerts and used the dog watering station.
There you
It's
go.
great. Mhm.
Perfect.
I can't get down that low, Amy.
You can, you just can't
Yoga.
get
Yoga.
Yoga. Yeah.
All right, I think that's it on the pro plan.
Okay.
Any commissioners have any other quick questions or comments? No.
Next month. What can we, I'm trying to remember, finishing up.
Yeah. Parks that we've missed in natural areas, we need to do, oh goodness, Stepson Canyon and.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll be moving on to facilities, so this building, senior center, pool, we wanna give an update on that. Yeah, cemetery.
I forgot about that too.
I was gonna bring it up in my comment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, on our calendar, it notes that we would be focusing on review of the survey results. But what my plan is that we want to get these items finished up. And I'll kind of prompt you with some survey information for us to just kind of utilize and look at over the next few months. But not spend the whole time or a lot of time walking through the survey because you can read charts and comments and.
Sure.
I want to see your video of Steps Canyon, going down the trail.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun. You can speed it up.
No, they have. Yeah.
Director, could you speak to the pool?
I will defer to Mr. Positive over here. We joke because we always give him
Just any kind of update.
the negative updates.
Yeah.
It's my
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, the pool is not working right now. And the Y has taken this as an opportunity for them to do one of their semi-annual shutdowns and deep cleans, so then they're not having to do it in a few months from now.
Okay.
But as far as the issues, Brian can kind of speak to what's going on.
Yeah, so we have an additional overflow tank that is set off to the side of the pool. It's an overflow, but it also has our filtration system in it. After many years of service, it decided to the tank split. It's a all metal tank. We were able to find a fairly local company that responded right away. Got them under emergency contract, and they are out there working today on the fix. It's going to be a couple day fix, and then it takes about, I think they said like 4 days to fill the pool, and then get the chlorine and all that other stuff where it's supposed to be. So I mean, it's a process, but it's fast as we can make the process work. So yeah, hopefully there's minimal impacts to the folks. I know there is impacts, but we're trying to minimize them the best we can.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and so the plan is we still have budgeted this year to do a facility assessment of the entire building. But the hope is that this will be a 3 to 5 year fix or so for us to be able to get the assessment done this year and then just kind of start looking at future planning and what does that mean for that site. But to buy us more than 6 months or so, get us a few years down the road so we can really kind of do some planning of what is the future of that site and aquatic. So
Filling it back up, though.
All right.
we'll just pull from the storm drains nearby. There's a lot of asphalt up there.
Well,
All
the
right, last up
timing
we
was
have,
great.
oh,
I was gonna say the timing was
While
great.
you're
I
out of
got
town?
because I use the pool like 3 times a week, and I got the email from the Y that it was closed, and I'm like, oh, all right, I'm not coming back yet.
Well, I blamed you anyways. I said, this is all Amy's fault.
Everything was fine till Amy left.
It is. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, Commissioner Waterman, we'll start with you. Commissioner's comments. You got anything else for us tonight you'd like to say?
I don't think I do, other than just thank you so much to Tim and Brian and Colette for walking us through every park in the
Yes.
pros plan so far. And so I really appreciate all the work that you've put into this. So nothing other than that. Thank you.
We agree.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining from the other side of the world. Commissioner, really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Yeah,
No
thank
problem.
Now you can go to bed.
you. She's
Right.
wide awake, right?
It's gonna get light out soon.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, Commissioner McDonald, you got anything for us tonight?
Well, you know, today is Earth Day.
Yes.
We don't inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our future generation. I don't know who said that, but I like that quote.
That's a nice one.
And then Neil deGrasse said, if we treated every day like Earth Day, we wouldn't be in this mess.
If
So-
only.
Yeah, so I don't have anything else. But I echo what Commissioner Waterman said about going through these parks and stuff. You guys done a great job with them.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dawson?
I'm more pessimistic about Earth Day. The insert in the Kitsap Sun, the highlights of it were talking about, you know, safer makeup and things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so much for me being a bummer.
You want a cookie?
I'm supposed to be the Debbie Down.
Yeah, that's a.
All right. And I don't have any. All right, meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Good job.
Just on that point, we do, and I forgot to share it, the Stephenson Canyon Stewardship Group, which is one of our newer groups, is out doing ivy and invasive blackberry removal today.
Cool.
Did you
For Earth Day.
show them the
great.
installation of the restroom? Did the quick version in the video? but-
We didn't do we didn't do the full video. The installation of the restroom.
If you guys were interested.
Yeah, I'd watch it.
It's another minute and 30. I think it's in the pack, right, of stuff for this meeting yet.
Was it in?
I don't know if you received it. Yeah, so 2.5 hours, the whole prep.
All these counterweights.
Yeah, it was, what were there, 5 or 6 semi trucks that carried everything? Yeah, the
200
counter,
ton.
yeah, it's just insane.
How much did the restaurant?
88,000 pounds. And of course, the crane is partially, the riggers are on new sidewalk and,
Yeah.
but honestly, I think we would have been a little more concerned if the sidewalk wasn't there. Because, yeah, it gave them a lot more stability. And the sidewalk had been in for a couple months.
Didn't crack anything.
Bit.
Serious weight.
It's getting taken care of though.
Both of them.
Yeah, and yes. And so I was a little concerned at first with the roof, but it's a fully concrete structure. So the roof's all concrete as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we didn't have to worry about the top bending or anything. Yeah.
So you see the 3 green doors?
Yeah.
Just imagine that.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a.
Yeah, they're no longer clean now. Yeah. But yeah, as you could tell, the utilities were right underneath, and so there were holes. Yeah, so you see all the utilities right there, and so it just drops right on, and then so that the center cluster is kind of your maintenance room. And so and you can
Then you got.
yeah, so it just kind of gets dropped straight down on top of it. First one yeah, different that's yeah.
Done a full one now.
Yeah.
Way better location than more.
Once it was there, it looks like it had already done that.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I talked to some people that were like, yeah, I went to work that day and there was nothing there, and I came home and a restroom was there. Yeah, it was crazy. He built it all. Yeah, the
Supposed to be different.
So it's supposed to be, they got the roof is supposed to be dark green, the same color as the doors.
Okay.
And then it's supposed to be like a sage green on, I think, the bottom, and then a tan on top, and then the.
and you can see it now that the playground's in, that the colors are a little off because we were trying to match it with the playground. Yeah. 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 They'll paint it. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Get some sleep. Yeah.
I will. Bye.